We are reading through a difficult Old Testament book, Jeremiah. Today it's Jeremiah chapters 9 and 10. Difficult because it is a message filled with judgment to an ungodly people. And when you're reading through these sections, I just look for some nuggets that can encourage me. And I appreciate, especially right at the end of chapter 9, the sentence, "Let him who boasts, boast in the Lord." And we do have a reason to boast in the Lord. That's especially brought out in our New Testament reading for today, Hebrews chapter 8, verse 7 through chapter 9, verse 15. In this section in Hebrews, we are reminded that we have something better, a better covenant that we will hear about in Jeremiah 31. I can't wait to get there to talk about that. But a better covenant, and then the author of Hebrews says there's a better temple. And the temple that he's talking about is the temple in heaven. But just to understand what he's talking about, he just kind of walks through the Old Testament temple. And let's use our church to picture that. Let's just imagine that our narthex is the courtyard outside of the temple itself. This is where most of the ministry actually took place. This is where the sacrifices took place. This is where the animals would be burned up on the altar. But the most important part of worship didn't happen out here. It happened inside the building. And people could only kind of see and imagine. See, inside the temple was the holy place where the table of presence, or the bread of the presence, was. A reminder that God's people are always present before God. There was the candles, and then the altar of burnt incense that symbolized the prayers of God's people. And the priest could come into this part of the temple regularly, day after day. The normal people couldn't, but only the priests. But the really important part of the Old Testament temple was the most holy place. And there was a curtain that separated the holy place from the most holy place. And in the most holy place was the Ark of the Covenant, the symbolic place of God's dwelling, kind of like our altar is in our church. It's a reminder of God's presence. God promised to dwell in a cloud above the Ark of the Covenant. And the most holy place, only the high priest could come into that most holy place once a year on the Great Day of Atonement. But the author of Hebrews reminds us that Jesus went into a better temple. Not the earthly temple, but the temple in heaven. And he invites us to come on in to the most holy place with him and see that he sprinkled blood on the Ark of the Covenant. Not the blood of an animal, but his most precious blood. And his blood, right at the end of Hebrews 9:15, it says that his blood is able to cleanse our conscience from dead works, from the sins that bring the judgment of death upon us. You see, you and I have reason to boast in the Lord. And when you're reading Jeremiah and God's law convicts you, and you have a dirty conscience because of the knowledge of your sin, then go back to Hebrews. And with the Savior, step in to the most holy place and see that he offered himself, and his blood purifies us from every sin.